Racist and homophobic texts exchanged among officers in Antioch Police Department has protesters calling for justice. Meanwhile, some criminal cases may be thrown out because of those messages. Find out about the backlash ahead.
Now that the rain is gone, potholes are everywhere in the city of San Jose, and it could cause serious damage to your car. Find out what the city of San Jose is doing to prevent any more damage.
For years, California has had an acute teacher shortage, but a San Jose State professor says that trend is turning around. I'm Betsy Gebhardt. These stories and more this week on Update News.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Brianna Mathal.
And I'm Aisha Tabinho. We begin with the community on edge and fighting back in Antioch. A police department scandal involving racist, homophobic, and threatening text messages between officers have racked that community. Now it turns out that dozens of criminal cases might have to be thrown out.
Hey! Ho, ho! The racist cops have got to go! Hey, hey!
Frustrated Antioch residents took to the street to protest after an ongoing FBI and Contra Costa County investigation revealed dozens of police officers involved in a texting scandal. The officers used racist and homophobic language, and they bragged about beating suspects.
I'm taking it back. I'm baffled because these are people that we are suspecting or expecting to protect us, call them when we need help, but they hate us on the low.
If we don't get it, if we don't get it,
Community-led protest has taken place against the racist and homophobic texts involving nearly over half the Antioch Police Department. The Contra Costa District Attorney's Office released a report saying 45 of the 99 Antioch police officers are involved in the scandal. At least 16 of the officers are in a leadership position. The report details the sharings of sexually explicit, homophobic, and disparaging language and images used between officers in a texting group chat. A lot of the information was redacted, but here's some of what we are able to show you on TV. Here we see one cop make a racist confession. Here we see that if given the opportunity, they would do more damage to a person compared to a different police department. And here we see how one cop feels about black women.
It's hard being black and gay. Looking at this, because it's like, I can't win for losing.
And there's another reason this investigation is so important. A recent state law lets individuals charged or convicted of crimes contest the outcome of their case if they suspect racial discrimination played a role. The officers involved face possible charges of abuse of authority, civil rights violations, perjury, and other infractions. The city's mayor pro tem says the police department needs a change in culture.
Black people, indigenous people, brown people, and poor people in this community have suffered at the hands of this police department with very little accountability. We've been marching since 2020, and this is not the first time this community has been at this police department demanding change and taking it to City Hall to demand more change. I think what we know we're dealing with is we're dealing with an opportunity to actually create some real change at this.
So far, the DA's office says it has had to drop 40 cases, quote, tainted by the officers. There are many more cases being reviewed.
Investigators have made some progress in the recent freeway shootings in the Bay Area. Alameda County prosecutors announced this week that 3 men have been arrested in the connections with one of the shootings. That incident left a 5-year-old little girl dead. She was in a car with her parents on the 880 freeway near Fremont when bullets struck their car. Prosecutors say the suspects believe they were shooting at a rival gang's car.
There have been more mass shootings in 2023 than days in this year so far. While mass shootings get most of the attention they account for, just 1% of the gun-related deaths. They're just 1% of gun-related deaths. National and local activists gathered at San Jose State to discuss ways you can help end gun violence. Reporter Brianna Bartlett is here with some of the solutions they proposed.
Whether you see it in the news or on social media, each report of gun violence can flood communities with fear, anxiety, and trauma. You may feel like there isn't anything you can do to change things, but folks at the rally say it's time to take some personal responsibility. The crowd at the rally focused its attention on two huge whiteboards with two questions. What are the causes of gun violence, and what are the solutions?
It's not drag queens killing our children, it's guns killing our children. Children of all races, of all languages. It doesn't matter if you are living in Brentwood or Compton or downtown San Jose or Almaden Valley, gun violence happens in every corner in our United States.
San Jose City Council member Omar Torres said the U.S. isn't the only country with mental illness, domestic violence, video games, or even hate-fueled ideologies. He said the only difference between us and the rest of the world is easy access to guns.
When seeing it on the news every day and hearing of mass shootings, it's kind of like a thought of like, so when are we next, you know?
Not one more!
Jessica Blichok, the leader of the California chapter of Moms Demand Action, says there isn't just one solution to gun violence.
It takes many approaches, including common sense gun policies, education around gun safety, including secure storage of firearms, policing reform, community-based violence intervention and prevention programs, and holding the gun industry accountable. Here are some actions she urged the crowd to take right now. Scan this QR code to send a message to your U.S. representative demanding that gun safety legislation become a priority. Call Governor Gavin Newsom on April 21st to urge passage of Senate Bill 2 and Assembly Bill 28, two major gun safety laws. And text 64433 to join a national text chain for updates about Students Demand Action, a grassroots organization fighting to eradicate gun violence throughout the U.S. And it is really important that you stay involved and continue to take action, because all of our voices matter, and the louder our voices get, the more people will pay attention, and by people I mean lawmakers. Every 15 minutes, someone dies of gun violence in this country. 15 minutes. The message from activists at this rally, it's never too late to take action. Live in San Jose, Brianna Bartlett, Update News.
The trouble is, they're just about everywhere. Potholes. They're nerve-wracking and could leave a hole in your tires and your wallet. Reporter Lee Vern Johnson has been out on the pothole patrol.
The rain has gone and the sunshine is back, but San Jose residents have something else to worry about. Potholes. They've been taking over the streets and causing damage to people's vehicles.
Well, I have to deal with the potholes in front of my house, so I have to buy extra tires, and that's not cool because tires cost too much.
Bradford has receipts as recent as last month totaling nearly $1,200.
I feel like the city needs to come out here and do something about it.
Public Information Manager for the City of San Jose, Colin Haney, oversees the Department of Transportation and explained what the City of San Jose has been doing to fix a lot of these potholes.
We have really stepped up our pavement maintenance program. Since the year 2019, we've had three relatively new funding sources that have let us take our pavement maintenance program where we, repave the street and put a whole new top coat of asphalt on there. We used to do something around 30 miles a year, and now we do over 200 miles a year.
With this new program in place, Haney says that when the city is notified of a pothole, they try to get it filled within 48 hours.
Typically, we have a 2 business day turnaround time for potholes, meaning in 2 business days or less, we'll get out there and fix your pothole. In some instances, if there's a really large problem, bigger than a typical pothole or a few potholes, we may need to schedule some special repair service for that street or section of street, and that could take a little bit longer.
Now, the city expects to pave every city and local street by the year 2028. And if you see potholes in your community, the City of San Jose asks that you report it by calling 311 for the Customer Service Center or call the Department of Transportation at 408-794-1900. I'm Lee Vern Johnson with Update News.
This past decade, there's been a desperate need for more teachers in California. But as a reporter Betsy Gebhardt tells us, this year, statewide and at San Jose State, teacher credential programs are starting to fill back up.
In San Jose State's teacher preparation courses, it's a welcome sight. Enrollment in the credential program is rebounding, up 33%.
Our enrollment in 2018 was a little over 300. And as of this past fall 2022, it was 461.
And why is that? For one, the programs made a concerted effort to recruit students from multiple ethnicities. Professor Rebecca Rios notices the upswing in numbers and in teacher candidates of color in her math methods class.
Especially in the Bay Area where we're so diverse, it's so important to have teachers who look like our students, who understand our students.
Diversity is what attracted student teacher Davia Laluen from Sacramento to San Jose State.
Yeah, that definitely played a part in why I wanted to come over here, because I think just the Bay Area in general is I like the diversity.
But for others, ethnic outreach was not necessarily what drew them to San Jose State's credential program. An undergraduate student says San Jose State allowed her to enroll in the credential program early.
I have a few undergrad courses this semester and a few master's courses this semester for my credential.
Admissions are still open for the fall 2023 teaching credential program, but hurry up. The deadline is May 1st. At San Jose State, Betsy Gebhardt, Update News.
When we come back.
A new feature from Apple lets you buy now and pay later. But is this convenience good for consumers? Find out what experts and consumers are saying.
Spring is in the air and wildflowers are blooming everywhere. Stay tuned to how you can stay safe while checking them out.
As we all know, it is definitely springtime and it is actually getting warmer outside, but just exactly how warm is it going to get? Stick around to find out that forecast.
At San Jose State, we really do learn by doing. This is my first semester working on our award-winning newspaper, the Spartan Daily. But my whole time here really has been about real-world skill building. Professors like Diane Garazi continue their work in journalism while bringing that knowledge back to us in the classroom each semester. Then we're on the Spartan Daily, Update News, or the Spear. We get to put all that into practice. We even get to work with cutting-edge tools like our new VR lab, where we get to learn new ways of real storytelling using 3D virtual reality.
Our students have many opportunities to work in newsrooms that function like the ones they will encounter in their professional careers. Here in Update News, for instance, we produce a weekly show that is aired on local access television in San Jose, and we produce video news that is digital first. Students will get experience as producers, anchors, and field reporters.
The Spartan Daily, our award-winning student newspaper, has not missed a scheduled publication date in more than 80 years and remains one of the longest-standing papers of its kind in the Western United States. Through classroom instruction and our newsroom labs, we give our students the tools to succeed and create their own bright futures. Learn by doing. If you're interested in joining our program, visit our website for more information.
They are your fellow students who make decisions that affect your life here at San Jose State University. They have a budget of nearly $10 million, and yet few students know much about them, and even fewer students voted to put them in office. On the heels of last week's election, reporter Madeline Dowds introduces us to some of the people you need to know.
What is Associated Students and why should you care? These are some of the questions circulating after last week's Associated Students elections. I spoke to the outgoing and incoming president to understand what AS can do for you. Recently, San Jose State students had their say at the ballot box in electing next year's Associated Students Board. Associated Students is an elected student body. It's responsible for 9 of the most essential university organizations at SJSU. These include the Cesar Chavez Community Action Center, Transportation Solutions, Child Development Center, and many more. Newly elected President Sarab Multani will start his term in June. He says his first priority is to increase student awareness of Associated Students.
AS has done a lot of good work behind the scenes, and I feel like students don't even know about it. And that's like what needs to change. First of all,
SJSU students pay over $100 every semester towards the Associated Students fee. This allows the Associated Students to have an annual budget of $9.5 million.
Roughly 2,000 students of the eligible 36,000 voted in the elections. Christy Hermanagildo was among the 6% who voted.
I think one of the biggest reasons that I care is because I feel that I don't know enough about it, if that makes sense. And since it's Associated Student Government, I feel like it's something that directly affects me.
After nearly a year in the role, current President Nina Chuang reflects on handling such a responsibility.
It's just such an amazing privilege that I get to be able to be here and amplify our voices and really collaborate together and work together to really make change in the system and in a school. You know, it's not an easy job. It's not just, being elected is just the beginning.
But future President Sarab is confident he can both engage students and advocate on their behalf.
I know how important it is for students to actually have power in the say in the policies that are implemented at our school.
Associated Students has a legacy of over 125 years of student advocacy. With greater visibility, the AS Board hopes that more students will take part in future elections. In San Jose, I'm Madeleine Dowds, Update News.
Now, if you use Apple Pay, you might want to know about this new feature. Buy now, pay later. Apple Pay Later will be part of your digital wallet. But is that a good thing for consumers? I discovered what you can expect with this new feature. Apple first announced a new Pay Later system last month. It lets you pay for your purchases over time. There are already lots of Pay Later options. You have Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, and more. And now, Apple Pay Later. What makes this Pay Later system different?
It has no interest or fees. It works by taking your purchase and splitting it into 4 payments spread across a 6-week period.
Apple Pay is introducing their Buy Now, Pay Later system, which allows you to make purchases online or in person without any fees or interest. But what happens when you run out of cash?
Where Apple then has access to your bank account to charge you a fee.
I use Klarna Pay Later, and now that Apple Pay is incorporating a Pay Later system without any interest, I'm excited to try it.
If you are conflicted about whether Buy Now, Pay Later systems are really worth it, Annie Milburn from NerdWallet shares some key details if you decide to take advantage of it.
I recommend Buy Now, Pay Later for kind of big one-time purchases. Think furniture or a Peloton bike, for example, and not those smaller, regular purchases.
Apple Wallet users can expect access to Apple Pay next month. The company is also rolling out another financial feature for Apple Card users. It's a high-yield savings account with a 4.15 annual percentage interest rate. That's roughly 10 times the national average.
If you're one of tens of millions of users who logged onto Facebook in the last 16 years, you might make a little money. Facebook, owned by Meta, just settled a $725 million lawsuit for sharing users' data. That's despite the fact that the social media giant denies any wrongdoing. Now users who lived in the U.S. and accessed the site from May 2007 through December 2022 can submit a claim through the settlement website or by mail. The deadline to file is August 25th. And you have to opt out or object by July 26th. Just to head to the website on the screen.
After an incredibly rainy season, warm weather is back, and so are the wildflowers. Lots and lots of them are all over California. It's the first so-called super bloom since 2019, and this one is epic. Reporter Carson Wells shows us some of the beautiful blooms and has all the details on how to stay safe out on the trails.
Avid hiker Tom Ramey and his wife Christy hike at Almaden Quicksilver Park 5 days a week.
We love this park. It's very close to our house. We've been hiking here for maybe 15 or more years.
Quicksilver Park is one of the many Bay Area parks where wildflowers are starting to pop up in what most are calling a super bloom. According to Santa Clara County, the blooms are expected to stick around through May. The flowers will also continue to grow as the weather gets warmer. If you want to go see the blooms for yourself, there are a few things to keep in mind. Alameda County Vector Control reminds us that tick season in the Bay Area begins in April and continues through June.
You often don't notice a little tiny tick on you. They can literally be the size of a pinhead and attached to you. You can't even feel it.
Ticks can transmit Lyme disease when they attach to a person or animal, so it's important to protect your furry friend too. One of the best ways to stay safe while checking out these beautiful wildflowers is by staying on designated pathways and trails like this one here.
I even try to caution people when I see them going off trail, like, don't do that.
Staying on the trails also helps keep flowers and greenery beautiful and healthy. When you venture off trail, you run the risk of trampling and killing the blooms. This ruins the experience for other hikers and it keeps the flowers from growing. For more information on where to see the super blooms and other safety tips on the trails, check out our Instagram at SJSU Update News. In San Jose, I'm Carson Wells. Update News.
Will that super nice weather continue? Joshua Gilman has the answer in your 7-day forecast.
This is Joshua Gilman, and I have your 7-day local forecasts, starting with the 5-day headlines, what to expect. We do have, once again, even more of a warming trend heading this weekend. The warmest day is going to be on Saturday for the whole Bay Area. It's going to be in the high 70s, and everybody, especially San Jose locals, could be 80 degrees on Saturday for the first time this entire year. So spring is definitely here, so pretty significant. There is absolutely no rain in the forecast for this next forecast, and it's slightly going to cool off next week. Super blooms are occurring because the sun and springtime is here, the rain is over, and everything is blooming. So get outdoors, enjoy the outdoors. It's going to be mainly at Mount Diablo, also like at Lake Tahoe and the Eastern Sierras where you can find your super blooms. Okay, going into the 7-day forecast with Santa Cruz. As we can see, we have sunny sunshine all across the board. It's going to be really, really nice. They're going to be peaking on the weekend at just 7 degrees and lows will be consistent in the upper 40s. San Francisco is also not going to be as foggy and gloomy anymore. They're going to be also sunny across the board, with the main cloudy day going to be on Saturday. But other than that, it's actually going to be pretty cool in the 60s, as well as Oakland. Their highs are going to be consistently across the board at about 66 degrees, and lows will also be in the upper 40s. And finally, here in San Jose, yep, just as I talked about, peak warm day is going to be on Saturday at 79 degrees, and then the rest of the week is going to be in the 70s, and it's going to be very nice actually, just in the 70s and warm and sunny weather for the next week. And as we can tell, those nighttime temperatures are actually going to be pretty much bouncing out of the 40s now, so now we'll be in the 50s. Alrighty, well, I hope you get outdoors this weekend because it is going to be sunny and warm, and hopefully you can catch those super blooms around. Alrighty, back to the desk.
When we come back.
Esports is emerging as a PE course at universities. Does playing video games really improve your health? Or is it just playing with friends? We have that story just ahead.
The San Jose State baseball team took on UNLV Rebels. Find out how the Spartans did in the matchup. Your sport update is just ahead.
Looks like they are going, and gone. After 5 decades, the Oakland A's announced they are leaving the Bay Area. The baseball team's president says the A's have finalized a land deal to build a new stadium in Las Vegas close to the Strip. The A's had been looking around for a new home for a long time to replace the outdated Oakland Coliseum. They looked at the Fremont, then downtown San Jose, and more recently, the Oakland waterfront. But it appears time has run out. Oakland's mayor is saying she's deeply disappointed the A's chose not to negotiate with the city as a true partner. The team hopes to break ground in Vegas by next year and to play ball in their new home by 2027.
Trying to fulfill a sports requirement? Wondering which classes to sign up for next semester? You might be surprised to find out what classes qualify for credit. Reporter Alexandra Romero is here to explain.
Sometimes it's difficult to find a class that fits your needs, but for the California State University Fully Online program, you may just find what you're looking for in e-gaming competition.
Typically, when you think of sports, you think of something that requires physical exertion, but esports is done sitting down. We're talking video games like FIFA, NBA 2K, Call of Duty, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. All part of the intramural electronic sports game at California State University.
Sports is a growing industry that brings a lot of people together, a lot of people that have accessibility issues with regular sports have an option to give some sort of competition with esports.
Esports can now be taken as a college class remotely through CSU Fully Online at Cal State LA. The course is KIN 1200 Intramural Esports. San Jose State students are able to take this class for credit, but not every student would consider it.
Like with video games, you're playing with your thumbs, and then with physical, like a sport, it's like physical ability based on your strength, your endurance, flexibility, and yes, you compete with other people on both sides, but like for a sport, it's like you're physically there, competing against other people.
While this is a contactless sport, it doesn't mean the competitive spirit isn't there. Players still give it the all to win.
The benefit of esports is that it isn't as restrictive compared to the other sports that require being there physically. Players are able to virtually compete worldwide against other opponents in a team or individually to really challenge their skill.
Downsides for a team game is kind of you like have to rely on your other teammates, but when you're playing a single player game, it's all you and like you and the guy you're playing against, so it feels a lot more like raw and like just you get to play one-on-one, right? It feels better.
The university says the games help in promoting community building and help in career development. Live on campus, I'm Alexandra Romero, Update News.
Now turning to sports, San Jose State's baseball team headed to Las Vegas, where they took on the Running Rebels. How did the trip in the desert end for the Spartans? Reporter Laverne Johnson has that story.
San Jose State's baseball faced Mountain West rival UNLV, where they ended their trip with a sweep after taking down the Running Rebels in their final matchup this past Sunday. In the bottom of the first inning, redshirt senior outfielder Jack Collett and junior Charles McAdoo hit back-to-back solo home runs, tying the game up at 2 apiece. From that point on, the Spartans did not look back. Again, Collett would put 2 more points on the board, hitting an RBI triple to increase the lead to 4-2. After another run was scored, redshirt junior Dalton Bowling smacked the third Spartans home run of the game to left field with the score now 6-2. After the game, head coach Brad Sanfilippo spoke about his team's first inning surge.
Charles McAdoo and Jack Collett, they took a lead in the first 2-0, and those 2 homers in the first really kind of allowed us to get back into that.
After sweeping UNLV, San Jose baseball comes back home to take on Fresno State this Friday at 6:05 p.m. That's it for your sports update this week. I'm Laverne Johnson.
You've got nice weather on tap, so what's there to do this weekend? Here are some suggestions in Carson's calendar.
Here's what's coming up this week. On April 22nd, 626 Night Market Mini will be at the Great Mall in Milpitas from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eat good food, check out fun vendors, and more. Also on April 22nd, celebrate Earth Day at the Coyote Valley Earth Day celebration. The event runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Spreckles Hill in Santa Rosa. Pre-registering is required to park your car, or it's VTA accessible. Scan the QR code below for more information. Finally, on April 23rd, a spring craft show will be held at the Century House and Gardens in Fremont from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Admission and parking is free, and there will be over 40 vendors. That's all for this week.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thanks for joining us, and see you next week. And be sure to follow us on our socials at SJSU Update News.